Sandra Bullock was called America's sweetheart because of her friendly, direct, and unpretentious character. She was chosen 3 times as one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world by People magazine. She received an Oscar and a star on the Walk of Fame and became one of the most beloved actresses of the 1990s and 2000s. The audience's favorite, the girl next door, was always sweet and friendly, direct and funny. But few people knew how much pain and disappointment was hidden behind her wide smile. Sandra Annette Bullock was born on July 26, 1964, in Arlington County, Virginia. Her mother, Helga Matilda, was an opera singer from Germany. Her father, John Wilson Bullock, was an Army employee and vocal coach from Birmingham, Alabama. Sandra's maternal grandfather was a German rocket scientist from Nuremberg. Her father worked as a blacksmith to get into Juilliard School of the Arts, where he wanted to become an opera singer. Instead, he trained as an opera vocal coach, partially fulfilling his dream. Sandra's parents met in Germany when John worked at the Pentagon after serving in the Army, and Helga was his secretary. They had 2 daughters, Sandra and Gesine, who is 6 years younger. There was always singing in their house. Sandra often felt awkward because of her parents' singing, which could be heard even outside. She wondered why they could not be normal people. Helga wanted her daughters to follow in her footsteps. The girls took vocal and ballet lessons, learned piano, and sang in the children's opera choir, but did not show particular love for music. They sometimes accompanied their mother on tour, and Sandra was entrusted with small roles in her mother's opera productions. Although Helga was always busy with her career, she found time for education and taught her daughters self-reliance and independence. "My mother instilled that in me and my sister," Sandra said. "Make your own way. You don't need a man to get where you want to go. Make your own money, get your own career together." For 12 years, Bullock was raised in Nuremberg, Germany, where she received a Waldorf education. The family also lived in Vienna and Salzburg in Austria. Sandra grew up speaking German. A career as a pianist or opera singer did not appeal to her, although she had good vocal skills. She was more interested in theater and acting. They finally moved to America when Sandra turned 12. At Washington Lee High School, other children saw Bullock as a foreigner and bullied her for wearing old-fashioned clothes bought in Germany. Sandra took a film camera from her father and persuaded her peers to take part in an amateur film, parodying famous Hollywood actors skillfully enough to sway most of her classmates to her side. She became popular at school as a cheerleader, performed in school theater productions, and dated a high school athlete. She received the title Most Likely to Brighten Up Your Day. After graduating in 1982, Bullock attended East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in drama in 1987. She was one of the most notable students in the theater department and acted in several productions. After graduating, Sandra decided to try her hand in New York. Her parents supported the decision, understanding how difficult it was for novice artists to break through. Sandra's only goal was to become an actress. As backup options, she considered working as a photo model or flight attendant. However, for the world of fashion, Sandra was too short and not slender enough, and flying required special education. She got a job as a waitress in a bar on 47th Street and enrolled in acting classes at the neighborhood Playhouse Theater School under well-known teacher Sanford Meisner, who had trained Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, and Joan Woodward. The money needed to pay for education was not easy. The bar where she worked turned out to be far from pleasant, with a very dubious audience. She was almost raped there several times. Acting classes, where Sandra spent all evenings, became her favorite place. After 3 years of study, in the summer of 1985, Bullock began going to auditions. Directors were extremely surprised seeing a girl in worn jeans and a wide sweater with an unremarkable appearance. Most young applicants bet on miniskirts, silicone, and bright lipstick. Bullock, with her natural beauty and innate directness, caused them nothing but pity. She was too ordinary and simple for the wide screen. She still managed to get several roles. Sandra appeared in several student films and had a role in the off-Broadway play No Time Flat. This led to small roles in several independent films, and the lead role in the 1990 NBC television version of Working Girl. However, only 6 episodes were released before all the actors, including Sandra, were shown the door. Extremely disappointed with New York, Bullock decided to catch her luck in California. In California, Sandra began going to auditions again. In 1991, she got a role in the romantic comedy Love Potion No. 9. The casting director, seeing Bullock in denim overalls with her hair in a messy ponytail, thought, The same girl next door as Julia Roberts, only she will cost us much less. Sandra won the heart of her coworker, Tate Donovan, whom she soon started dating. Sylvester Stallone, who saw her in Love Potion No. 9, helped the young actress get the role of Lieutenant Lenina Huxley in the film Demolition Man. The movie received mixed reviews, and Sandra was even nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actress. But this did not prevent her from becoming recognizable. Bullock's breakthrough came in 1994, after the release of Speed. Director Jan de Bont's professional sense told him that behind the cute appearance of a young woman hid a heroine capable of turning his film into a real action movie. Keanu Reeves was her partner on the set. The chemistry between the colleagues was undeniable. Many years later, on Ellen, both actors admitted they were in love with each other during filming. However, a high-profile romance did not happen, because neither ever confessed their real feelings. Sandra turned out to be a wonderful actress. As a novice, she was not afraid to perform dangerous stunts, gratefully listened to advice, and gave 100%. Once, during filming, Sandra almost fell off the bus. She was saved only because Reeves grabbed her leg in time. The film received critical acclaim and collected $350 million against a $30 million budget. Bullock received the Saturn Award and awards for Best Female Performance and Most Desirable Female at the 1995 MTV Movie Awards. Inspired by success, Bullock created her own production company, Fortis Films, with her sister. Her father became CEO and her sister vice president. The company's first projects were While You Were Sleeping and The Net. In While You Were Sleeping, Sandra played a lonely Chicago subway cashier. The role was written for Demi Moore and later offered to Julia Roberts, who refused. The film grossed over $180 million worldwide against a $17 million budget. Sandra received her first Golden Globe nomination. In The Net, she starred as a computer programmer who stumbled upon a conspiracy. The film grossed $110.6 million. She dated her co-star Tate Donovan, and though the couple was engaged, they broke up in 1995 without giving an official reason. After their breakup, Bullock was distracted by work. In 1996, she starred in A Time to Kill, alongside Samuel L. Jackson, Matthew McConaughey, and Kevin Spacey. She started dating McConaughey. When a pregnancy test showed 2 stripes, Bullock shared the news. McConaughey's calm reaction noticeably cooled her ardor. When it turned out the test was false positive, Sandra made a willful decision to break off the 2-year relationship with a man who did not want to marry her. In 1997, she received $11 million for Speed 2: Cruise Control. She hoped Keanu Reeves would star with her, but almost refused when she found out he would not appear. She agreed only to financially support her next project, Hope Floats. She later regretted being part of the sequel. Speed 2 received 8 Golden Raspberry nominations and was called the worst sequel. In 2000, Miss Congeniality, about an FBI agent undercover at a beauty contest, became a hit. Filming took place in Sandra's native Austin. The film grossed $212 million at the global box office. The role brought Sandra a second Golden Globe nomination. On December 20th, 2000, Bullock was involved in a private plane crash on the runway in Wyoming, from which she and 2 crew members escaped unharmed. Sandra lost her mother in 2001. Before dying, her mother told her not to be like her, withdrawn, and not to be afraid of feelings. Bullock began her charity work, donating $1 million to the American Red Cross after September 11, 2001, another $1 million after the 2004 tsunami in Asia, and another to Doctors Without Borders after the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. On the set of Murder by Numbers, Sandra met Ryan Gosling. They began an affair that became public due to their age difference. Bullock was 37 and Gosling was 21, a 16-year gap. The romance was not long-lasting, and they parted in 2003. In the same year, Bullock obtained a restraining order against stalker Thomas James Weldon, who followed her from Michigan to Texas and California. In 2009, Sandra appeared as an editor-in-chief in The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds. The film grossed $317 million at the global box office. That same year, the drama The Blind Side grossed more than $309 million. Bullock played Leanne Toohey, Michael Oher's adoptive mother, a role she initially turned down 3 times. After meeting with the real Leanne Toohey, the actress agreed to participate. For the portrayal, Bullock won the Oscar and Golden Globe Awards. At the ceremony, she competed with Meryl Streep. When Bullock won, she approached Streep and kissed her on the lips. The day before the Oscar ceremony, the actress received the Golden Raspberry for her role in All About Steve. She became the only actress to receive both awards in the same year, with only 2 days between ceremonies. Bullock became one of the few stars who personally accepted the Golden Raspberry Award. Just 10 days after winning the Oscar, she and the rest of the world learned about her husband Jesse James' infidelity. Several women said they had affairs with James during his marriage to Sandra. On March 18, 2010, James publicly apologized. However, a month later, Sandra filed for divorce, and by the end of June was a free woman. At the same time, she announced plans to adopt a boy born in January 2010 in New Orleans. Bullock and James began the adoption process together, 4 months before the scandal. Louis was only a few days old when he became part of her life. Bullock continued adoption as a single mother. In 2013, Bullock starred in The Heat with Melissa McCarthy and Gravity with George Clooney. Gravity grossed $716 million worldwide and became her second highest grossing film. For her portrayal of Dr. Ryan Stone, Bullock was nominated for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and a Screen Actors Guild Award. On June 8, 2014, Bullock was awakened at 5:30 a.m. by a loud bang. She hid in a closet and dialed 911. Police arrested Joshua Corbett, who had broken into her home with intentions described in his notebook. Bullock admitted she has since suffered from PTSD. In 2017, Corbett was sentenced to 5 years probation and ordered to stay away from Bullock for 10 years. In 2015, she announced she adopted 3-year-old Laila. The girl had been in 3 separate foster care systems. "I had my kids in my closet with their little beds because I was so afraid not to have them super close to me," the star explained. She'd say, "I'm leaving you," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to be right behind you." In 2015, Bullock met photographer Bryan Randall when he was hired to photograph her son Louis. She called Randall the love of her life. In 2018, she started Netflix's Bird Box, which became a real hit, with 89 million subscribers watching in its first 4 weeks. In 2022, she played in The Lost City with Channing Tatum. The film grossed $190.8 million worldwide, making Sandra the first actress to have $100 million earners in live-action star vehicles over 4 different decades. That same year, Bullock took a short break to spend more time with her children. "I'm not retiring, just going to not spend time in front of the camera for a while," she said. In the summer of 2023, Sandra's partner Bryan Randall died at the age of 57 from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis after battling the disease for 3 years. Sandra Bullock's kindness melts the coldest hearts. Her humor and directness attract people at first glance. Her motherly love cannot help but fascinate, and every film with her participation becomes unforgettable. She is an example of how self-belief can make any dream come true.